Welcome to episode 2 of the Denver Protests podcast. I'm AJ. I'm here with my co-hosts, Constant Gardner
Hello.
and Bug.
Hiya.
How's it going, guys? Another busy week. I feel like for the rest of the summer, at least. God, what is this podcast going to be like in the winter when there's no protests? I guess we're going to have to organize our own protests.
Well, there will still be lots of events happening, and we could organize our own protests, and also we can focus more on, some educational, historical stuff too. So don't worry. There's no shortage of things that I can yap about, and I feel like, you guys probably can too. So, but yeah. The summer is the time of protests.
Yeah, hot girl summer, hot protest summer.
Hot sweaty socialist summer.
There you go.
Hot labor summer, hot strike summer, hot riot summer.
That's what we're talking about.
And you know we got it lit.
Hot labor summer. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of protests going on this week. It's just a busy week. I think, with this Pride weekend happening, I just felt like there was so much like energy and people milling about. But I mean, yeah, we had our standing protests. We had the Jeanette Vizgara vigil. Is it called a vigil?
Yeah.
Okay. That was Monday at 6. I don't think any of us went to, because Bug, you usually go to those, right? But
I do try to make it to those. I did not make it this past week.
Yeah.
But it still happened. So the show goes on.
Absolutely. So there's one of the standing protests. We had the Tesla takedowns, standing protests. I don't know if our Fox takedowns were happening. There were, but again, I think they're just kind of out there as a pencil those in as recurring protests. We had a couple of anti-war protests, one of which, I already told you guys this, you already know this, but like it was me and one other guy at the state capitol. And listen, I'm not going to take credit for it, but it wasn't too long after that like ceasefires are being talked about. I don't know if it was me and my...
the world.
Okay. Yet again, free Iran guy erasure. It was you.
I know, it was free Iran guy.
It was you, another person, and free Iran guy. So that was 3.
That's
was 3
100%
right there.
true. You can never have a protest of just one person at the Capitol, because free Iran guy, as far as I know, he probably lists his address as 14th and Broadway. Like that's where my guy gets his mail.
I was out there yesterday for Pride.
Of course he was.
Not for Pride, but
no, for free Iran.
For free Iran.
For free Iran. Oh
yes.
my God.
So it was you and one other guy and free Iran guy who was technically probably not there for the anti-war. He's probably pro. I think free Iran guy is pro bombing Iran, if I had to guess. But his politics are a little confusing. Don't mean to center him again in yet another episode. Maybe we're just going to talk about him every single time. But good on you, AJ, for getting out there in the heat. And thank you for your work, your tireless work getting the
ending
fire
the
talks
war.
going.
Yeah,
ending the war.
Problem.
Good job. We're proud of you.
Yeah, it was good. It was clearly very successful. We had that one. There's also one, by the time this episode gets published, almost certainly this will have already happened. But there is a hands-off Iran event happening today at 5, which is Sunday, June 29th. Today at 5:30 at Confluence Park. Bug, are you going to that? I know you had mentioned. I don't mean to throw it. Yeah.
I do not think I'm going to make it to that tonight. But
yeah.
I hope it has a good turnout.
I wanted to say something about that last Sunday. So you, AJ, you went to the 10 a.m. one. PSL had an anti-war protest at 5 at the Capitol. And apparently it was like maybe 100 or 200 people. And so they elected to just kind of do a rally and cut it off early and not do a march. I guess it was just like hotter than hell. And they didn't have the numbers. And so some people posted in the subreddit and they were kind of pissed that there was no march and then it was cut off early. And so I would just like, so, there was some discussion about why that was. And, PSL is pretty cautious, I think, after 2020 and all the shit that we all went through, and a bunch of their organizers got their doors kicked in and they got arrested on charges that were later dropped. I think PSL is a lot more cautious about doing smaller actions. But my point that I made, and I would like to make it again, is just because PSL packs their shit up, it doesn't mean you have to pack your shit up. If you and, 10 to 20 other people still want to protest, then stay out there. I mean, get out there with your signs and, wave them again next to Free Iran guy. You could totally do that. You don't need PSL to lead your protest. You could also potentially engage in some civil disobedience and shut down Broadway. I am not condoning illegal activity. I am merely saying it's a possibility. If you wanted to do it, just know it is dangerous to block traffic and you could be arrested, but it is something that happened quite often in 2020. So just remember, if you and, some committed other people want to stick around after a protest ends, there is nothing stopping you from doing that. So that's my little spiel.
Yeah, man. No, 100%. And I thank you for making that distinction, because I went to the 10 a.m. one, where it was just me and the one other guy. Which shout out, I wish I remembered his name, man. Musical guy. But I think I saw some coverage of the PSL demonstration. It was either on 9 News or Denver 7. I can't remember which one, but they were covering it. And they were like, yeah, it looks like it's just too hot, which, like, I know that we kind of like joke about it, but it's also a genuine thing that I feel like, especially so far this summer, I feel like every Saturday it will be like 95 degrees with 100%, sun coverage. Like the ones yesterday that we'll talk about later were just like, I'm surprised nobody got heat stroke. And like, yeah, just be careful out there.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, this is why I don't make it out to more protests, is because they tend to be in the middle of the day at the hottest time of the day when the sun is the most intense. And I just can't hang. I will, it will trigger a chronic illness flare. So, and I know I'm not the only one. So hopefully, I don't know, we're talking about maybe doing some more nighttime protests, and there is at least one coming up that we'll talk about later. So yeah, that heat is no joke though.
Or brunch protests. I know Bug and I were talking about that. Like specifically like brunch. Standing around some of the more brunchy places and doing protesting, because it won't be quite as hot. But anyway,
yeah,
we had the anti-war protests worked. Congratulations to everyone who was a part of those. I shouldn't say, I swear to God, as I'm saying that now, like they're already mobilizing outside of the Straits of Hormuz or something. Like you never know what's going to happen. But we also had these overpass protests have been, I honestly have no idea if anyone's been going to these, but people are posting about them. And they seem to have been happening. I'm going to be fully honest with you guys. I don't know.
I think it's more of a small but mighty approach. I think it's a couple people from 5051 that have been doing those. And they've got like big banners that are all anti-Trump and boo fascism, Nazis bad, and I support. It gets a lot of eyes, and
yeah, I think it's good. And also, if you're going to any of these protests, the Tesla takedown, the Fox takedown, the overpass protests that are kind of smaller numbers, take pictures and post them to the subreddit. We would love to see how the turnout is and hear your report backs from them, because we obviously can't be at all of them. So, make sure you go on the subreddit, go in the Discord, and share your stuff.
Yes, yeah, please do. Like you guys were saying, the overpass protests, I think they're great because you don't even need that many people to get a lot of visibility. I guess that's like the entire business model of billboards, whatever the fuck, just like passive advertising. So yeah, anyone who's gone to those, that's awesome. I think that's so cool that people organize that. But the biggest, or one of the biggest ones that happened this weekend was the March for Stonewall, or I don't remember the exact title of the march, but it was like there was a march that went from Cheeseman Park down to the Pride festival itself down there in Civic Center. Both Bug and I were at this one. It was probably, I don't know what, like 100, 200 people, enough people to like comfortably fill up an intersection. We actually
Yeah.
wound up doing like a little like impromptu brunch protest because we posted up there outside of Jelly at 13th and Penn. So that was nice. But yeah, I mean, this one was super interesting. And it wound up going places that I personally, when I started like joining the march, didn't know it was going to go.
Yeah, same. I had no clue that we were gonna march on Pride Fest. Um, but coming down that hill on what was that? That's 14th, I think. Coming down
Mhm.
that hill towards Civic Center Park was it was super rad. It was really cool. Um,
Yeah, because basically what happened was, and I got separated from the group because I have, you know, attention deficit disorder. I don't actually, but like I'm easily distracted by things. I stopped to talk to a member of the Discord actually. So I got separated from the group. But apparently, what happened was like the march just like went right through security at the entrance there of Pride, and security
security
just
waved us through. They were cheering us on.
Nice.
It was
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, and then I showed up like 2 minutes later with my scooter. I'm like, you see, I'm with them. I'm trust me, I know someone inside the club. It's cool. But yeah. So, Bug, we were marching down through there, and we marched through Pride, and you know, doing all the and shout out to the people. We should probably say who was like organizing this. Bug, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so the main organizers were Bread and Roses Legal Center. Um, they were one of the powerhouses behind getting the Kelly Loving Act passed, which is a trans protection bill here in Colorado. And then SDS, Denver SDS, Students for Democratic Society, were involved, as well as the Denver chapter of the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, and I believe also the Colorado Palestine Coalition and Denver Anti-War Action. And I think that might be it.
Was DSA? I think DSA was involved in some level of orchestrating
I don't
it,
think
or
DSA was on the DSA was not listed as an organizer and wasn't on the flyer, I don't think, but I'm sure that there was DSA representation there, as, you know, Bread and
oh, sure,
Roses
yeah,
and CPC are frequent collaborators with DSA. So
yeah,
I'm sure there was
yeah.
DSA presence.
Yeah, there were a lot of folks out there for sure.
How was the reception? Was anybody like pissed that about you guys marching on Pride Fest? Because there were some naysayers in the subreddit prior that were mad at the mere prospect that maybe people would march on Pride Fest. And I know they did it last year. And people were pissed. Some people were pissed. So did you see anything like that?
I didn't notice anybody at the event that was upset. But I did see comments on the Denver subreddit saying like this doesn't belong at Pride and co-opting Pride to speak on Palestinian liberation is wrong. And they
Okay.
were getting rightfully roasted about how Pride is a protest and how intertwined, liberation
Well,
is for
and
all.
yeah, I mean, I know it hasn't occurred to them, but there are actually queer people in Palestine getting bombs dropped on them. So
Yes.
that's, I saw one of the arguments I saw was like, well, we have a right to have a joyful pride. And like, okay. But like, I don't understand why standing up for Palestine takes away from your ability to have a joyful pride. Um,
Yeah.
but whatever. Haters gonna hate.
I most of the reception that I saw from like the march entering and marching through Pride and going down to the Greek amphitheater, and eventually, to their extreme credit, commandeering the stage. Most I saw it was people who were like, "Oh, what is this? This is a different kind of parade that we're doing here." There were some people who were like actively cheering. I saw a lot of that. I did see and I heard some people like honestly like literally turn their noses up. They would like scoff and look away. And I heard like some people who they were wearing like art museum visitor badges. and they were like, "Oh, look, they're making it political." Was what?
Fuck
Pride
Yeah.
off.
is
Are you-
political.
It literally,
Well,
the
and that
memory.
was a yeah. No, you're right. That's exactly what someone in the crowd said to them. And they kind of, got in a horse-drawn carriage and rode away.
Clutching their pearls as they
They
went.
clutched so many pearls, dude. That was it was the verbal representation of pearl clutching. That's exactly what it was. God, just
Like, fuck off. You guys you're at the art museum. Like, you're not even really here for Pride. You're
You
just
weren't here for Pride. You
Clear
just
out.
you stepped out of the art museum and you saw a bunch of people. That's my theory.
But
Also,
overall positive reception, it sounds like.
overall positive reception. But yeah, and then but Bug, you were like right down there in the Greek amphitheater as the organizers of this march were like commandeering the stage and like taking over effectively began like running the event from like the main Pride organizers.
Yeah, it was honestly really awesome to watch. The lead of the march essentially just walked over to the side of the stage, and there were barriers there, and they just moved them because it was like 100 people strong, and they just picked up the barriers and moved them out of the way, and about 15 people like took the stage, and there was some back and forth on between like the MC, the person who was running the stage, and the organizers. And there was some, there was some effort from the MC to help platform the organizers, which was awesome, but that's not very disruptive. And so I support what the organizers did in insisting that, like, no, we're not just going to have two people come up on the stage. We're going to have our people come up. We're going to speak. If you don't give us the microphone that leads to the big speakers, we will just use the one that we brought, and we're still going to hold this stage. And you can physically remove us, or you can let us have our time. And it was a game of chicken, and the organizers won the game of chicken over Pride Fest, and it was awesome.
Nice. We love it. We love to see it.
Yeah, it was really cool. No, we do love to see it. Many such cases. Actually, I guess this was like I said, when we started on the march, I was like, oh, this is a good route going right down the center of the action. It's like, oh, we're going to the center of the action. We're which was really cool to get to see that. And there were a lot of like alternative media sources covering it. A couple guys were doing like video interviews for their YouTube channel. There were other like, I think like independent photojournalists covering it. Denver 7 was also there for the entirety of the length of the march, covering it when the march got down there into the Greek amphitheater, and they published a story about it. And, honestly, like, I'm not in the business of carrying water for Denver 7 or any of these like media organizations, but I thought they gave it, it was nice that they were there. It was nice that they were covering it. And I thought they gave it wasn't an abominable presentation of what was happening. It wasn't like it was, I don't know, like the Babylon Bee or like a far right perspective for the event. They did have a lot of the context. I think like the opening like B-roll narration for the story was like, Pride is a time for celebration, and then like juxtaposed with like but for some people it's not, was kind of the undertone. But again, I thought it was, or maybe they said something like it was a time for people to express their political beliefs, which, that's a much more fair reading of it. So yeah, like I said, it's nice that it got some coverage, and it wasn't quite as abominable, or people being like, why are all of these people so angry at Pride, which should be fun.
Right.
So
We can both be angry and have fun. Okay.
And that's the thing.
all.
It's like, why, if I was just an attendee at Pride, and all of a sudden this group of like 100 people wearing keffiyehs with megaphones comes in and storms the stage, I'd be like, that's the most fun thing that's happening.
Totally.
It's not antithetical to fun. I guess people like, they're like, well, they're talking about serious, and like they are, and like that's important. But like, I hate this idea that like caring about this stuff or like having political expression in this kind of way it makes you like a scold, or like it makes you some kind of like school marm or someone who hates fun. I never got that.
Well, leftists do notoriously hate fun, so I think that's
Okay, well, that's true.
it's a fair read. But no, I think we can do both. There is space for both, and we talked about the radical roots of Pride last week, and it's great that that march, honored those and kind of brought them to the center of the action to remind everybody else. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, one of the biggest. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing, but also, it's a good reminder that while this might be like the Vizzy Pride Fest parade or whatever,
Don't get me started.
That it is not, or while it might, be that on paper, Pride is not that. Like we are not a corporate event. We are people celebrating queer liberation, trans liberation, and the liberation that we all want to fight for in the world, which is liberation for everyone.
Yup. None of us are free till all of us are free.
That's what one of the banners there yesterday said. And yeah, no, this is like the yin and yang, and this is the tension that we were talking about, like I think at more length last week. But yeah, I was at like the Pride parade, like the, with like Bug was saying, it's the Vizzy Denver Pride Parade. Vizzy is like Coors's like hard seltzer. And again, I don't mean to go long on the Coors stuff or like keep bashing them, although I kind of do.
No, we do. Keep bashing Coors. Bash.
Because there are other organizations who are involved in this parade who are, on some level, it sounds like, contributing to it. I'm cribbing all of this from a CPR article, but so like for example, like Transcontinental Pipeline is an organization that helps people relocate to Colorado from states around here that are considered unsafe, which is basically every state except maybe New Mexico. So they do obviously like awesome and cool and incredible work. There's a Colorado Health Network that's involved with putting on this parade. Like when I was there, I saw like their contingent talking about like providing healthcare for people living with HIV. And the thing that sucks so much about all of this is that those organizations are not the headline sponsor. Coors is, and Coors in their history of like super far right, deep conservative, like they're basically like a if a conversion camp had a beer, like that's like it's just so frustrating to see these other organizations that are involved in this who are actually doing like cool and good and necessary work be completely overrun, or what's the word I'm looking for? Eclipse. Thank you. That's a much better word. By something like Coors. So yeah, it's officially called the Vizzy Denver Pride Parade, which sucks. The cool thing is though, apparently Denver's Pride Parade and Pride Fest as a whole, I should say, is like the fourth largest in the country, like 500,000 people they think are going to be down there over the course of the weekend. So again, going back to our point from last episode, like pound for pound, Denver has a very vibrant Pride space.
Well, fuck yeah. That's one of the coolest things about Denver, if you ask me, is how gay it is relative to the size of the town. We love that.
No, it really is. Yeah, it really is. But yeah, so that was more or less about Pride. We should also say that like the Pride Parade specifically was hosted by the Center, which I'm not going to pretend to know enough about it, which I guess if we're doing something like this podcast, maybe we should, but we don't. So here we are.
Yeah, we don't know everything about everything. We're doing our best, okay?
And I will say we encourage people, anyone who happens to accidentally click on this podcast in their podcast feed, which is how I assume anyone's going to listen to it, to contact us and tell us, hey, I know about this issue, or like, because we're definitely always open to that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, or yell at us if we get something wrong. We're open to being yelled at if we fuck things up, please.
Accountability is sexy.
Literally any engagement would be huge.
Would be rad.
That would be like, yeah. But yeah, so that was Pride. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we kind of close the book on Pride 2025?
I do not.
I don't either. I'm sad.
Bug, are you
So,
sure?
but
Well, Bug, I was going to say, do you want to talk about the tension between, because you were talking earlier about the, was it gays for Trump? Did you want to throw that out there? We don't have to either if you don't want to.
I don't even. I try not to even think of those fools.
What are there, like
Uh,
5 of them?
d- uh, I wish there were only 5 of them. Oh my
God.
gosh!
Like,
Because just how dense do you have to be to think that the like the political party that fought against the legalization of same-sex marriage and then all the expansions to queer rights and trans rights that we've seen in the last like I don't know, decade and a half, like if they've been against that from the beginning, why do you think they're going to want you for anything other than your vote? Like,
right. Well, it's mostly, let's be real, it's mostly like white cis
yeah,
male gays for the most part who are just ready to throw more marginalized queer people under the bus because they think that will save them. It will not save them. And we will see you dumbasses in the concentration camp, I guess.
yep, you'll have a pink triangle on along with the rest of us.
Along with the rest of us. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they'll give you a pass. But regardless, it is counter revolutionary and the opposite of solidarity. And it sucks. And you suck. If you
Yeah.
are a gay for Trump, you are the worst.
I mean, hey, listen, those camps need capos. Someone's got to be the prisoners. Yeah, we'll see if
Oh,
that
God.
one makes the final
Eh.
cut. We're gonna turn to hot labor summer,
Woo!
which we love to see it, folks. We really do, though. I know that was, yeah. I think this is one of the more encouraging things for like left political movements within this entire country, but also here within Colorado specifically, is I feel like over the past 5 years, 10 years, like the labor movements have begun to flex their muscles in a much more public and visible way. Maybe that's just my bias based on the people I choose to spend my time around with. But I definitely feel like that there's been more strikes. There's been more talk about organized labor. There's been more talk about doing things like unionizing your workplace. There's been more like active labor demonstrations that have been, present and happening around the city and around the state at large. The biggest one that's happening right now is the Safeway strike that we got going on right now. But I know CG, you wanted to speak to this.
I do. So it is actually Safeway and Albertsons, although I don't know how many Albertsons we really have here anymore. A lot of them have turned into Safeways. But they have been striking, I think, for a few days, maybe a week now. You may remember King Soopers went on strike in February. That strike lasted 12 days. So it is not, in fact, just your imagination, AJ. So this strike here is the first time that Colorado Safeway workers have voted to strike in nearly 30 years. So it is a big deal. And King Soopers may be striking again soon. So both Safeway and Albertsons and King Soopers workers are represented by the United Food and Commercial Workers, which is a nationwide union that has about 1.2 million members total nationwide. But our local chapter is UFCW Local 7. It has about 23,000 members in Colorado and Wyoming. And they mainly represent grocery workers, but also some food packing workers and cosmetologists and cannabis workers. So there's kind of a mix there. It is considered kind of a weak union, but some local chapters are better than others. One of the things that makes UFCW arguably weaker than some of the stronger unions is they have they have high worker turnover. So it's hard for your union to gain a foothold when you're constantly losing members and having to recruit new ones. So that's like a big problem, because working in a grocery store used to be like a much better career for people. And it has, increasingly not been that. So the Safeway and Albertsons workers, their contract ended, I think, around a week ago, and they voted to go on strike. In short, they're just striking for better pay, better benefits, and better staffing. which is something I think we can all get behind if you've ever worked in, any kind of customer facing role. So yeah, if you want to support them, which we highly encourage you to do so, you can just show up to the picket line at your local Safeway or Albertsons. You will find the workers picketing, and they are generally super appreciative of anything that you can bring them. So I would recommend just stopping by, like with some snacks, drinks, or you can just stop by and say hey and let them know that you support them. That's what I did during the King Soopers strike. Just go to the local picket line, and ask them what they want or need. A lot of times they'll just tell you they're not picky. They're appreciative of anything that you can bring. But my local King Soopers, they really wanted some Panda Express. And so we hooked that up for them with the help of Denver DSA. I'm a Denver DSA member, so I'll give a little plug. We do strike support pretty much anytime a local workplace organization or union is striking. We will provide strike support in the form of, bodies out at the picket line, as well as food and drinks and such like that. And we use our chapter funds to do that. So shout out to Denver DSA. But you could join DSA if you want to get involved in that, but you also don't have to. You also could just show up at the picket line and offer your support, ask what they need. They really, really appreciate it. And that's just such a great way to get involved, especially with your local, your local store. Like, it was really cool for me to get involved with King Soopers because those are the people that are checking me out all the time. It was nice to kind of get to know them on a different level. So that highly, highly encourage you to go out and support during the strike. And also, I just want to give a little more information about unions in general. So union membership used to be a lot stronger in this country, and it has been, we've got a lot of decreases in our worker protections over the years. But some of the big unions that you may have heard of would be the Teamsters, the UAW, which is the United Auto Workers, the SEIU, which is the Service Employees International Union, the IWW is the Industrial Workers of the World, and then the AFL-CIO is the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations. And so that's a big labor union federation that a ton of smaller unions are involved in. It's like an affiliation, and so SEIU is part of that. So with all of that said, you may have heard some talk about this idea of a general strike. We see it pop up in the subreddit pretty often. There's like a general strike US group happening, and I'm gonna do a little bit of hateration here, and I apologize in advance. I know that everyone's heart is in the right place, but a general strike is not something that you can organize in 6 months. And anyone who's telling you otherwise probably does not have much, if any, experience organizing, doing any type of union organizing. So people who have experience with union organizing tell you that this is something that is going to, we need years to put this thing together, because we just don't have the community support system necessary for people to, not go to work and potentially be unpaid. For that time, we need to raise funds for mutual aid and figure out how people are going to feed themselves and get their medicine and all of that. So if you are, mad at me for saying that and you want there to be a general strike, that is valid. You should look into Sean Fain and the UAW. They are calling for a general strike in May of 2028. Yes, that's how long it's going to take. They're having their union contract expires on May 1st, 2028. It's May Day, which is like a national or an international day of labor support that we don't celebrate in this country because we hate unions and we hate labor. But that is, if you want to get involved in the general strike, your first step, my friend, is to organize your own workplace. If you have not done that, that is your first step. And the goal for that would be get as many labor union contracts to expire on May 1st, 2028 as we possibly can, because that gives the greatest leverage and bargaining power if all of the unions come together. So if you are interested, in unionizing or organizing your workplace, I would recommend reaching out to any of the unions that I listed. We will hopefully list some of them in the show notes. Reach out to the local chapter, tell them where you work, tell them that you're interested in organizing, and see if they can help you or point you in the right direction. I'll give another DSA plug. The DSA Labor Committee has definitely helped people locally organize their workplaces. So you could join DSA or even just message a DSA member, such as me, if you would like information about that. The DSA Labor Committee could probably connect you with some resources on how to get started with organizing your own workplace. But yeah, that is what we need to be doing. The big general strike, it's not a bad idea, but you want to get started on a local level first. So yeah, that is my union spiel. Get involved locally, and then we can think bigger, as we build labor power. And please, please, please support the Safeway workers and Albertsons workers in their strike, and maybe King Soopers again here soon.
Yeah, if you're going to bring them snacks, or because I remember during February, a big thing to bring them, like you were saying, was those hand warmers. Don't go into the store that they're striking at and buy the stuff. And
No, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring those from somewhere else.
Oh. Yeah, I left that part out. Don't cross the picket line. That's kind of a crucial. So don't shop. Don't shop at Safeway or Albertsons during the strike. That's like a great way to support the kind of bare minimum way to support the union is don't shop at the store. Don't cross the picket line while they're on strike. Although if you have to go to the pharmacy to get your meds, they understand that that's you got to kind of cross the picket line for that.
I mean, there are definitely circumstances where, I think what we are saying, what they were saying is like, don't go there for a bag of Cheetos that you could otherwise get. Like if you have like mobility issues or transportation issues, or it's like literally your only option to feed yourself, like that's one thing. But if you can go somewhere else to shop while these stores are on strike, or while the workers, I should say, of these stores are on strike, definitely go to there. But yeah, no, I was to talk about like the DSA contingent or the part of this. I was at the Denver Democratic Socialist General Meeting in February of this year, and that was how I learned about the King Soopers strike. And I went and joined. I was on the picket line with them for a couple hours. As a consequence of learning about that strike from DSA and at the general meeting. So shout out to them for kind of broadcasting events like that. I just want to, and it's also like you were saying, go and talk to the workers who are striking because they want to talk to you. They're a member of your community as you are theirs. And since I've gone back to that King Soopers after that strike, I've had interactions and conversations with the same people that I met on the picket line. And I think that one of the things, and I think this is probably, I don't mean to speak for the whole organization, but probably DSA is one of the things they're doing is like they're trying to be the people who are on the picket line with the workers and, present yourself. Hey, I'm out here with you. I know about this from the socialist organization. I, present myself as a socialist. And so now it might go a longer way towards presenting that concept and the organization of DSA in a different light, somebody who might not have otherwise been exposed to it, or it might even be, have a baseline antagonism to the war, as so many people do.
Yeah, absolutely. I had similar experiences at King Soopers where I was able to talk a little bit about socialism and, relate to people in terms of how hard it is. They're all working these full-time jobs and they're not able to afford, their basic necessities, not able to afford their medicine. So that's like a great way to relate to people. Socialism's kind of a dirty word in this country, or it has been historically. And so that's a really good way to, I think most of us can relate to not getting paid enough for our labor and hating our shitty boss. So that's kind of a baseline level where you can relate to people and then, slowly indoctrinate them into luxury gay space communism. So,
which is everyone's ultimate goal.
Which is everyone's ultimate goal, obviously.
If you are the person bringing them Panda Express, which, man, I have not wanted Panda Express as much as I have right now since you brought that up. But If you're the person bringing them Panda Express, if you're the person literally walking around in a placard with them, that's going to go a long way towards, building communal bonds that I think, we talk about this a lot, but I think that is one of the undergirding structures that is going to, hopefully allow us to move forward and towards different kind of political structure that I think we'd all like to see put in place. So,
Totally.
yeah, man, hot labor summer.
Hot strike summer.
Hot strike summer.
Hot solidarity summer.
Hot solidarity summer. All the hot summers related around organized labor. But there is turning to the stuff that's coming up, because there is a rally in solidarity with the striking Safeway workers this Thursday, July 3rd at 10:30 in the morning at their distribution center. And there's more information about that, I know, specifically on the Denver DSA's events page. So there is a rally in solidarity with the striking Safeway workers if people are able to get out to that. But as you were saying earlier, at a bare minimum, avoid shopping at any store that is in an active strike, and you'll know because they'll be out there. So yeah, that's one of the ones coming up. But what else do we got coming up down the pipe? We have a July 4th protest. Is this right?
Yeah, there's actually 2 events happening on the 4th at the Capitol. There's a powwow by the Rise and Represent. It's their second powwow that they're doing now, and that'll be from 12 to 5 at the Capitol. But then later in the day, there is going to be like an anti-Independence Day kind of protest.
Oh, so they're pro-monarchy? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's more like anti the United States.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And that you said both of those on July 4th, and both of those are at the Capitol?
Yes. The powwow is 12 to 5, and then the later march is at 7 p.m.
Denver protests after dark, man. That's what we're trending towards. Yeah, so we got those 2 coming up, which I'm really curious to see what the turnout for that is going to be, because I don't know about where you guys live, but like it's already started for me around like this time of year. There's people lighting off fireworks literally every night. I feel like July 4th is like kind of a big deal in this city, like relative to other cities where I lived. Like they go pretty hard for like lighting off fireworks, I guess specifically is what I'm talking about.
Man, these fucking fireworks really test the limits of my abolitionism, because I am a Karen. I hate that shit, and I want to call the cops real bad. I don't ever call the cops, but if there's ever a time that I wanted to, it's when the teens are letting off fireworks. So just have to call myself out there, but I don't actually do it. But really, fireworks are the worst, okay? They're the worst.
Co-signed.
I'm learning that July 4th is probably like your least favorite holiday on earth because of like, besides its like implications like politically and socially, it's hot and the whole thing is fireworks. So it's like they designed a holiday to piss you off.
That's fair. A lot of things piss me off. But I will say I don't like Thanksgiving either, because it's close to my birthday and I don't like it stealing my birthday thunder. But no, 4th of July, I mean, okay, here's the thing. I think if there's professional fireworks shows, I'm okay with, because you know when they're starting, you kind of know when they're ending, you can kind of prepare for them. The issue is people with their illegal fireworks they bought from Wyoming, shooting them off, at all hours of the day and night for weeks leading up to the 4th of July and weeks leading afterwards, that are weeks following afterwards. That is a big thorn in my side. But I don't know. I kind of like, I like the barbecue aspect of 4th of July and hanging out. I'm a big summer person. And
those are nice.
Believe it or not, I used to be that bitch that would always wear red, white, and blue for like the aesthetics on the 4th of July. And clearly I've, I don't do that anymore.
Constant Gardner lore drop.
Yeah, no, that is, I was going to say, between you throwing water on the general strike and saying that they're gonna come for you with the Fed accusation. I'm just telling.
Yeah, well, get in line.
Bring it on, motherfuckers. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of you. Yeah, the only time you'll catch me carrying an American flag is if I'm burning it or if it is covered in red spray paint that looks like blood. Shout out to our comrade, won't say their name, but yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, I don't know. I think I have to work. I think I have to work on the 4th, unfortunately, but that is one that I would probably potentially go to because I like the radical message. And more importantly, I like the fact that it starts at 7 p.m. So it's not going to be hotter than the surface of the sun. So yeah, but I'll be interested to see what the turnout for that one is as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying. I think I'm optimistic that it'll be a good turnout. There's already a good level of like baseline chatter about it.
Plus there's the Zed's Dead EDM concert at Civic Center at the same time. So it should be
That's cool.
should be just a real clusterfuck down there. But maybe in a good way. We'll see. Yeah.
It's good to know.
We also have go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say outside of all of the the one-off protests coming up this week, we also have just our usual weekly vigils and protests coming up tomorrow on Monday, because we're recording on Sunday, is a weekly vigil that happens outside of the ice facility here in Aurora. This week is being led by No Enemies, which is a protest chorus.
So cool.
So I think that's going to be a really awesome vigil. I'm definitely making it out for that. If you like the Flowbots, you might want to check this out. Just a little thing there. And also, just as preparation, next week on the 7th, July 7th, all of the organizations that have sponsored one of these vigils outside of the ice facility are coming together to host one big vigil. I think the time might be different, so I have to double check on that. But yeah, they're hoping for a good turnout on the 7th. But then outside of that, just upcoming next weekend, we have, the usual Tesla takedowns. With the one in Littleton from 11 to 1. The one in Loveland is from 9 to 11. So, you want to beat the summer heat. If you live in the North Metro area or you live up just in North Colorado, then they'll be out there early. Likewise, in Superior, they're also getting out there kind of early at 10 a.m. Not early in the day, though. The Fox takedown starts at 1, and that's down on Spear Boulevard outside of the Fox affiliate station there. We also just learned about a weekly vigil that's been happening on Saturdays that's hosted by CD7 Watermelon, which is a pro-Palestine group out here in Colorado. And they are hosting vigils on Saturdays from 10 to 11 a.m. at the overpass at 5250 Wadsworth out in Arvada. So
it's right by the Costco, if you're familiar with the Arvada Costco, which I definitely am.
Shit.
Costco stand.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
We're a pro Costco podcast. I don't know. Are we? Probably, right?
I mean,
relative to other companies, they seem pretty.
Costco's pretty good to their employees, but they are unfortunately very anti-union. Some Costco's are trying to unionize right now, or they have unionized with Teamsters, and Costco is being union busting dickheads about it. So big surprise there. But I'm a lifelong Costco stan. It would be hard to make me hate them. Shout out to the $1.50 People's Hot Dog and soda.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Food, good deals, and the anti-union stuff sucks, and they definitely do that. But base pay at Costco is
quite good. Yeah.
So, and like benefits are pretty good. So things that they would benefit from a union, Costco provides some of those things. Now, the union is people power and the ability to negotiate what the workers actually want. So, they need to fucking not be union busting.
Right. And I mean, that's the important thing to remember is that That's what Costco does now. But all it takes is like they get a new CEO, they get some new board of directors, they decide they want to dick their employees over. Right now, if you're not unionized, they're just employees are kind of counting on the company's continued goodwill. They don't have any real power to do anything about it. So that's why even if your company treats you pretty well, it's still a good idea to be unionized in case they decide to stop treating you well, which can happen at any time.
Provide protection.
We are deeply opposed to any organization doing any union busting practices. And you know what organization was noted among even other shitty organizations for being like super union busty?
Is it Coors?
It's fucking Coors, dude.
Dude, AJ is coming. AJ keeps his fucking foot on your neck, Coors. He's coming for you.
It's not stopping. It's gonna be for as long as this show happens. I'm gonna talk about it every week. I fully intend to do that. We also, so we mentioned the weekly Palestine rally in Arvada. We also, this is a little bit farther out, but we're bringing it up now because it's still kind of pride themed. I only learned about this because on the march yesterday, some guy came up and was handing out placards or little post-it notes, whatever the fuck. San Luis Valley Pride is happening August 23rd at this place called Cole Park in Alamosa. I cannot put into words how much I love the San Luis Valley. I think it should secede from Colorado and become its own. I should secede from this entire country, which I'm sure the people who live there would love. It is like the coolest place on earth, dude.
It's really cool.
I love it so much. I'm so happy they're having a pride there. It doesn't even matter if, 25 people show up. And you know what? Honestly, for the whole like San Luis Valley vibe, I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually pound for pound relatively well attended. Because they get up to shit out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great excuse for you to take a fun road trip to the San Luis Valley and support their pride event.
Go to Alamosa, go to the hot springs, go to the sand dunes, see the fucking aliens, join a cult.
Don't join a cult.
You can if you want to.
You can if you want to.
Yeah,
you support your personal autonomy, but make sure it's okay, join a cult. Sure.
Okay, vet the cult. I wasn't saying just find it. Do your fucking due diligence on the cult. But I love the San Luis Valley. I really do. It's the best place in the state. Do we have other events coming up, or are we?
Actually, we do. I forgot to mention the weekly. Every week on Saturdays, there's a protest outside the Capitol for missing and murdered Indigenous women and trans rights. And they were out there yesterday. I stopped by and said hello to them. They were out there even though it was Pride.
Nice.
And then also a little bit further out, just a couple weeks from now, on the 14th, there is going to be an anti-Palantir action at the Capitol starting at 2 p.m. And I believe there will be a march involved. Not for sure on that, but just given what I know about the organizers and past actions, I think there will be a march with that. So,
awesome.
Keep your eyes out for that.
Keep that on the horizon. All right.
Well, before we end, I just want to make sure we would be remiss if we did not thank our sponsor for this episode. This episode of the Denver Protest Podcast is sponsored by the campaign to re-elect State House Rep Brandy Bradley. Brandy Bradley, unhinged, transphobic, drunk.
Okay, so
you can't cut the word. I'm going to do a fake sponsor every episode. All right.
When you started saying that, I had no idea where it was going. I couldn't be happier with its destination. That woman. Oh my God, we should do a whole.
Yeah, she blocked me on Twitter, which I consider a badge of honor. I consider that a badge of honor. She came for Elizabeth Epps. Don't come for Elizabeth Epps. That's one thing you need to know about me, is I have low tolerance for anybody coming for Elizabeth Epps. But yeah, fuck Brandy Bradley. She's a drunk piece of shit. You heard it here first.
And sounds like a Republican.
But yeah, anyway.
That was our sponsor. That's our sponsor.
That's our air quote sponsor. Hey friends, you should tell all of your friends about our podcast. All right. We would love to have more. We would love to get a double-digit listener base, 10, 11, 12. That would be rad. So make sure you like and subscribe and comment and tell at least like 3 of your friends about the podcast. Subscribe to the Denver protest subreddit. Join our Discord. There's a link on there. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Threads. You can follow us on Blue Sky. And I think that's all of our platforms for now.
I think so. We're killing the game, folks. Episode 2 in the can. Great talking with you guys. Hope to see everybody out there on the streets. Stay cool, stay frosty, stay dry.
Stay hydrated.
Stay fucking hydrated. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.